I'm not TMZ and I'm not your school's local newspaper, but I do want to actually talk about a news story today that I'm sure you're all aware of by now. Alec Baldwin fatally shot cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of his new movie Rust. He also caught the director in the crossfire as well, who was shot and injured but is okay. Unfortunately, Hutchins died. It was a tragic accident where a prop gun Alec Baldwin was handling actually had a live round in it, which ultimately ended in someone's death. I first heard about this minutes after it happened. I was streaming at the time, and I swear to God, the people in my chat are like the fastest on-scene reporters to everything. If there was a nuclear missile launch somewhere in the world, I would probably know about it before the US government because my chat would fucking tell me. Somehow, they just have like the cutting-edge information the second it happens. It honestly felt like whoever was telling me about this in Twitch chat was actually on the set when it was happening. So I've been following this very closely over the last couple days, and this is more than just a tragic accident. This is gross negligence and a disturbing look into how little movies care about the safety of the crew. I'll get into that in a minute, but just in case you don't know what happened, Alec Baldwin is in an upcoming movie called Rust, and I don't know what the movie's about. I haven't looked that up because I think that's the least important part about this whole thing, but I guess in the movie he plays some kind of gun-wielding badass. He's playing fucking Doom guy, so he's running around akimbo guns and going crazy because guns are a big part of the movie, it seems. And in one of the shots they were doing, he was handling the gun and he shot and killed the cinematographer and injured the director. It was supposed to be a prop gun without live rounds, obviously. Sorry to hit you with a cold water and tell you Santa Claus isn't real, but movies are fake. Those guns you see in the movies aren't shooting real bullets or anything, at least they're not supposed to. But in this case, the gun Alec Baldwin was handling had a real round in it. Now, a lot of people immediately compared this to the tragic death of Bruce Lee's son on the set of The Crow. Brandon Lee died because of a malfunctioning prop weapon where a projectile actually did come out of what was supposed to be a blank and it killed him. A lot of people compared it to that, but this is totally different. This is so much worse. So I read this article today because this is still a developing story. Everyone's trying to figure out what the fuck happened here. Like the Tooth Fairy came in and delivered a real round into a prop gun. How did this happen, you know? And so the investigation's been launched, and apparently the entire filming of this movie was a fucking disaster. Crew members weren't allowed to stay nearby, so they had to drive 50 miles each day just to get to set. The conditions were abominable, which is obviously leading to them being miserable. So a lot of them wanting to quit and just wanting better conditions, and in response to that, they just started hiring non-union workers to replace the union workers. The fucking prisoners on Alcatraz Island were treated with more respect than the crew on Rust. It sounds like working on Rust would have been worse than working as a custodian in hell. At least maybe in hell the demons would have treated you better than the Rust team did. I would have rather been licking gas station toilet seats clean than go work on Rust. But not only were the conditions absolutely horrible and unacceptable to a damn near criminal degree, I would argue, but it was also like going to an active war zone every time you stepped on the set of the movie. Because this wasn't the only time there was an accidental discharge of the firearms on set. It happened 3 times, allegedly. Now, I don't know if it means that a live round was fired each time, or if it just means the gun wasn't fully cold. When they called cold gun, it was supposed to mean like there was nothing in there. So it could mean like the other 3 times it was like blank rounds that fired. But even still, that is a massive mistake to make. You call cold gun and a blank fires is still very dangerous. You have to be in control. You have to know what the fuck is in the guns. There were multiple discharges of firearms throughout filming. So it's like that scene in Zoolander where they're having like a fucking gasoline fight. Like, they didn't care. They were using like real guns, it seems. It wasn't even like props at that point. They just went to like the local, gun store, just purchased a lot and like, yeah, this will be fine for the movie. We'll just dodge the bullets or some shit. So I guess you just show up the set and every time there's a scene with a gun in it, you have to like be ducking for cover just in case. People just wandering around fucking dual-wielding pistols, firing them to the air like that guy from Looney Tunes, what's his name, Wiley Sharterton, the fucking guy with the beard, Yosemite Sam, just over there fucking blasting into the sky. So obviously the crew didn't feel safe, which led to half a dozen of them leaving just hours before the fatal shooting. Like, all of the signs were there for a disaster, but they were ignored because apparently they were trying to really rush the movie out, so they just didn't care. So I don't know how the fuck like a firearm discharges one time and you're not like, holy shit, this is something we really need to, take a hold of, grab by the fucking nutsack and fix. Because that is just that's a recipe for disaster. That is asking for a tragedy, and that's exactly what happened. They were begging for it. Just read this again. Alec Baldwin's stunt double fired 2 rounds in a gun that they said was cold. That shit is not cold. That is clearly not cold. If that's cold, then my cock is 16 inches long. Like, it's unreal. They had so many chances to fix the problem. They had 3 discharges, according to that quote there. That means they had multiple opportunities to get things under control, and they just didn't. Dude just kicking back, smoking a pipe, saying, surely it won't happen a 4th time. Like, that was their solution. Like, okay, now that we've got all the bad luck out of the way, now it's smooth sailing here. And then, of course, what happened, Alec Baldwin, during his scene, he's supposed to unholster his weapon, and they said the gun was cold, as they did the last time, and it wasn't cold, as it wasn't last time. So he brought it out of his holster, and it fired a live round, which shot and killed Hutchins and injured the director behind her. A completely avoidable tragedy if anyone on set bothered to give a shit about safety. Now, of course, the crew cared about safety, clearly, because they were protesting and they left because they felt so unsafe. But I'm talking about, like, the higher-ups that were in charge of making these decisions and making sure things were safe. They clearly didn't give a fuck. They just kept rushing and cutting corners. And then their solution to everything was, okay, let them leave. We'll replace them and keep using these fucking actual guns. If you can dodge a bullet, we can dodge a lawsuit. So let's really get out there and do our best. I'm obviously not part of the Trust and Safety Board of the United States of America, but I think if, while filming a movie, 3 times your prop guns are called cold, even though they're shooting even blanks, I think you need to really take a moment to reevaluate your crew and get everything under control and maybe start to think like, so there's a problem here. Clearly, we're not all on the same page. This department's kind of lacking. Let's fix that. But hey, that's just me. I'm not a director or part of a film board. It's just so fucking sad. And what's even worse is the people on Twitter who are saying Alec Baldwin needs to go to prison for this. Why? It's not his fault. He was told the gun was cold and was just doing the scene as he was instructed. It's not like he went in there like the spirit of vengeance and took the gun and just started shooting people. He was told the gun was cold and he was filming a scene. And unfortunately, the production didn't do a good job of making sure there wasn't a real gun with real bullets on set. I don't even know why that would be there. Again, I'm not like in the film board or the film industry very much, apart from being the world's best actor, but I can't imagine why during any movie you'd need a real magazine of real bullets next to all of your blanks and empty guns. Why is that there? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like something out of like a fucking Hitman mission where you're trying to assassinate someone. Why the fuck would there be real bullets mixed in with all of the fake ones? And it blows my fucking mind. It's crazy. Such a sad and yet entirely avoidable tragedy. I just wanted to talk about it because this story has been truly wild. And I feel horrible for Alec Baldwin. I feel horrible, obviously, for the family of Hutchins and everyone on that crew. Because what a sad set of circumstances and an awful thing that happened. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to talk about this. That's about it. See ya.